Hi there, this is Frank Klesitz, the CEO of Viral Marketing, working from my home today. As you can see, I always like to joke my assistant sits back here, my 4-year-old son. And you're going to join us for a wonderful interview today with Paul. He's a real estate professional, just himself with 3 assistants. Last year sold 81 homes. That's a top producer by all measurements. Typical price point there is about 300,000. He's in northern Boston, southern New Hampshire area, and has been a viral client for a very long time, publishing videos. And also on the side, Paul, you're a magician. Is that correct? Do you have any magic tricks for us today?
Matter of fact, I could probably share one with you if you like.
I'm sure. Stay tuned to the end and you'll see one.
We'll do that.
So anyways, the purpose of this interview is for you, our clients. It's not to sell you on viral marketing. I don't need to sit here and tell you to do what we do. I want to dive deep and figure out, how's Paul selling 81 houses? And how's he doing with videos? And how's he doing with, building his database? And how is he getting contacts into his database? What topics is he sending out? Let's figure out, what's Paul doing to be successful, so you can watch this and find some clues and model it for your business so you can sell more houses, right? So how does that sound, Paul?
Sounds perfect. Yeah,
Good.
Absolutely.
So how many years you been selling real estate, man?
I have been selling for just short of 40 years. I've been in the real estate business for 45.
Whenever I hear someone that sold real estate for that long, I'm always humbled when you hire us, because I can't even imagine how many people have come along trying to sell you stuff over the years.
That happens only by the hour. So if I get interrupted, I'll ignore it, but you'll know where it's coming from.
So I guess probably what I want to say is, you heard about Viral and you hired us. What stood out over 40 years of being pitched products and services to help you grow your business?
Well, today is we're in a whole new world here with millennials, with young people. I have a 17-year-old, as you have a 4-year-old, and the age of the internet and computer and communicating by video is here. And so I felt as though it would be a great avenue to be able to reach out to clients, to reach out to center of influence and new people that I haven't met. By delivering a friendly, informative message, which is brief, which can be circulated through various media, and which would be helpful and informative. And one of the great aspects of Viral that I find, Frank, is that when I'm talking to someone that I've never met before, and I'm competing with 3 or 4 agents for their business, it helps when I can send out a resume, testimonials, and also a message that I have recorded, so that the prospective client has an opportunity to get sort of a soft introduction to not only my presentation style, but also to a message that they may find informative and helpful.
That's great. So let's dive deep into this. I want to know, what where your business comes from, how you do your 81 deals in wider scope. I want to know how you build your database. I want to know what messages you're sending out. I want to know maybe how you prioritize follow-up if you're using the click reports of the people who watch the videos and all. Mm-hmm. These are all the things I want to go in for our audience today. So let's start with 81 home sales last year. Can you maybe break down some of the lead sources and where they came from?
Sure. The lead sources come from, for one thing, talking to people every day, prospecting. I generate about 20% of my business from for sale by owners and expired listings. About another 20% of my business to 25% actually comes from networking with groups such as BNI, Business Network International, where I'm actually meeting with professional people and they send me business. Every week I meet with a group of 42 professionals, and there's one of each profession and one member of each profession. I'm the real estate agent. I've been involved for 20 years. So it's a great source.
You've been in this group for 20 years.
Yeah.
You got to be one of the...
It's fun.
Guys, that's great.
It's fun because I have a whole cadre of professional people. Matter of fact, I had one of the plumbers out today. Next week, I'm going to have an electrician help me out with installing some electrical lighting.
Oh, do you interview these people on your blog, and do you include them in your videos and out to your list?
That is a great idea. I'm going to take some notes.
Right.
I have to interview these people.
Intermission.
All right.
Intermission.
Interview.
We need to have we're going to have a coaching moment.
SOI. Interview SOI on Viral.
If you've been in a BNI group for 20 years
mm-hmm.
and you have those professional relationships,
mm-hmm.
We need to have a plan where maybe you can invite them to your office, or you can interview on the phone, or maybe with your new headset and webcam you got.
Exactly.
Do a meeting like this.
Sure.
Record it.
Yep.
And those would be great topics to send to your list, because the mission of your blog is to help people make smart decisions in real estate and to connect the community.
Definitely. That
Like that?
sounds awesome.
And then what we can do, I'll just add some more ideas here, is we can include a coupon. We can put a coupon for them in the email, and we could put a little coupon for them in the blog post so people can print off the email and take it in to the business owner to claim a little coupon.
Sounds fantastic.
So it adds a little bit of value to them. You follow me? So it's kind of like if I hook you up, they'll be a little more likely to hook you up. And this is you'll actually probably a little more enjoyable than some of the same real estate topics you speak about all the time.
Absolutely.
And then one more thing, this is our little intermission. Just when I hear this, I'm like, oh my goodness, right?
That's great.
You probably have been to mini mastermind meetings in real estate, not B&I meetings, but like, smaller, where everyone kind of shares a problem and they all work together on solving that problem for their business owners. You should really start a little break off of that, of Paul's local Boston community mastermind, where you guys get together for breakfast, maybe from 7 to 9 once a month or once every 6 weeks, where you kind of work in a small group on like-minded business challenges. That will bring the group together more close. We have a lot of clients in this little intermission we're taking here from the interview. You could take it so far as to raise some money from them, a few $100s a month, to participate, to help zero cost some of your marketing. So just want to open your mind that you're kind of sitting on that asset there that you can use viral marketing more with to help out those business owners.
Sounds exciting.
If you want to go down that path. So before I took the intermission, out of intermission now, lead sources, expired FSBOs,
right?
20 years of networking with local professionals. Keep going.
About 20 to 25% comes from past clients, centers of influence. I keep in touch with those folks, and then the rest comes from various other sources, internet lead sources, and people that are referred to me from other agents, from other companies, and that pretty much sums it up.
I think what's important you have to understand for anyone watching this is, I don't think those are new to anyone, lead sources.
Right.
But what is important is, I know you're a very well-trained salesperson. How many people a week do you speak to about real estate? Do you know that number?
It would probably be in the vicinity of 120 to 140 people per week. So anywhere from 20 to 25 people per day.
20 to 25 people a day. And a blend of cold calls, networking calls, whatever.
Right. Past clients, center of influence, people through my various networks.
How many attempts do you have to make dialing the phone to speak to 20 to 25 people?
Somewhere in the range of 75 to reach 25. 75 attempts, 25 contacts.
That's pretty good. So you're calling probably a little bit of a warmer list, I'm guessing.
Well, that's what I have to do,
Well, that's a good conversion rate. If you used to call 75 people and you get an answer of 20, 25, that's good.
Yeah.
All right. That's a clue, everybody. How many hours a week do you spend proactively trying to talk to somebody?
Average of about 2.5 to 3 hours per day. So I'd say probably between 12 and 15 hours a week. And that varies depending upon how busy I get with securing listings. If I'm busy securing listings at a certain time of the year, I may have less time to actually do my daily prospecting. So that's sort of a seesaw. There are weeks when I'll take in 4 or 5 listings, and on a week like that, I may have to cut back on prospecting in order to meet the people and provide the services to people and negotiate deals.
Wow. When you sell 81 homes a year, and again, you have 3 staff, but you still have to manage them.
Right.
How do you find time to consistently prospect? How have you managed to make that such a habit, a behavior, to get that done when there's so much chaos, probably in the morning when that needs to be done?
Well, I have a very well-trained and very nicely integrated team. Pamela, who was my listing coordinator, who's my closing coordinator, has been with me for 16 years. So if I happen to be away for a seminar or if I'm away on a vacation, she can virtually run this operation seamlessly with a couple of phone calls a day to me. Maureen, who is my listing coordinator, has been in the real estate business for 35 years. She's been on our team for about 5. And so she also has a really great handle on communicating in the same vernacular as I do. Joanne, who is our part-time co-prospector, she helps me to reach out to a lot of different lead sources, Frank. And Joanne, I actually met in college 45 years ago at the University of Mass in a philosophy class.
Oh, wow.
And so she has worked with some of the really brightest and top producing agents in New England. And she's also worked in New York City in business. And so she is basically working part-time right now to help us to reach out to a wider range of, of new business prospects.
So you do have a little bit of prospecting help then?
Yes, exactly.
That's good. Are any of those assistants licensed?
All of them.
Very good.
Yeah.
Good job. Paul, you get yourself a nice business.
I love what I do, and what I've done, Frank, is I've set it up in such a way after all these years that I can actually take a good part of the summer off. I bring my family down to the Hamptons in New York, and we usually rent a house for the summer, and get a chance to get my son out there sailing and fishing and doing the things he loves to do. We have a lot of close friends out there because my wife grew up out that way, and gives us a chance to have a lot of fun in the summertime. And then in the wintertime, I just buckle down and really focus more on my career and work and development. And so I've got a nice balance, without having to look towards retirement. I feel as though I'm living sort of my perfect lifestyle right now.
Well, it sounds like
between fun and work. Yeah.
Yeah. Your values and your happiness and what you do for a living are very aligned. I've always sensed that with you.
Thank you.
Which is good.
Thank you.
Question: how do you maintain such focus? Maybe it's just the 40 years of wisdom of seeing fads come and go when there's so many distractions on how to sell real estate and so many shiny objects and everyone's building teams and referrals and this and that. How do you maintain such calm, Paul?
Well, I don't know that I'm certainly not immune to distraction, and I'm certainly not immune to all kinds of new bells and whistles and magic answers that are constantly arising. But the bottom line, Frank, is that by just speaking with people and really mastering the art of communication, and more important than speaking with people, listening to people, getting the conversation started by talking to people every day, and then asking questions to be able to really engage in the listening process. That art form is just so much fun that it reminds me of what I think of when I think of top producers. To me, top producers are not necessarily people who are generating 100, 200, 500 deals per year. To me, top producers are people who have become so adept and so skilled at communication that whenever they link up in a business relationship with a prospective client, they actually help that client to dynamically change their life. And when you can really help people have a better life, a phenomenally better life, finding a dream home, cutting through all of the challenges that need to be addressed in order to help somebody really prevail and live the life of their dreams. That's what being a top producer is to me. That's what it means.
That's great. Paul, this is good stuff. Let's dive into viral marketing a bit. So it's been quite a few years. I should have looked this up, but how long have you been a client? Do you know?
I believe it's like 5 or 6 years, somewhere in that range, Frank.
Yeah, way back from my my Mike Ferry days, I believe.
Exactly. Yep, that's where we met.
Yep. What was the need again? So tell me, there's no lack of services and programs that will send stuff out to your list. And we're on a little more of the expensive end of services that do that for the right reasons, obviously. Mm-hmm. But tell me, what need did I fill that you saw? You know what? I think I'm going to do this.
Well, I have to admit there were a few agents who I was exposed to who were doing videos, some viral, some just doing them through other resources. And I was very impressed that people were communicating at that level with an audience by creating a message, by delivering a message that's meaningful and helpful, and by distributing it out in such a way that people who receive the message could benefit from it. And so there were two major inputs that that made a difference when I first got engaged with Viral. The first of which is that it gave me an opportunity to communicate on a level that I had not experimented with before. And I have to compliment your company because you take the basic video that I send your way, and the way that you folks edit, embellish, and frame out the video and distribute it, you really do provide an amazing service, which I'm very grateful for.
Thanks.
You're welcome. And the second part of that is the response. When I send out a video when you help me to send out a video every 2 weeks, getting the response, getting the callback, the open list, the click rate list, and the list of people who are listening, the people who are paying attention to that message, that is a very helpful resource for us because it enables me to reach out to people who I, in some cases, would anticipate are watching this video. In many cases, I'm shocked at some of the people who are actually watching this message. So by getting that response from your company as to who has been listening to that message, who clicked on, who tuned in, it gives me an opportunity to go full circle and take that conversation to second base.
Great. So you speak with, I'm sure we reconnected with your existing list. So when you hired us, you would give us your contacts.
Mm-hmm.
And we would reconnect with it. And something we do now that we didn't do earlier because it wasn't really necessary 5 years ago. But for anyone watching this, let's say you want to reconnect with your database and you have people from your CRM and your Outlook or your Gmail, your cell phone, whatever it may be. We'll take those contacts to the extent that we can with getting a message out to them through an email service provider.
Mm-hmm.
And send them a reconnect message, letting them know that you're going to start the Boston Real Estate Journal brought to you by Paul's company or something like that.
Right.
Some newsletter. You always want to make sure you run them through an email cleaning service. I just want to show people this really quick. We just signed a contract with these guys. Never bounce. But you want to run your list through like an email verification and cleaning because it'll make sure it actually gets delivered. And they can guarantee that about 99% of your emails will get delivered if you run it through this first. So if you ever reconnecting with like this list you haven't done much with, always run it through, never bounce first. And this is included free. It's included in your fee for all of our viral clients. We do this for you as a part of the build fee. But the other thing I wanted to show you here really quick, Paul, is you speak with, if I wrote this down correctly, about 150 people a week. Was that right?
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So you may not be doing this because we just recently kind of added this as a kind of a core feature to the service, but I want to give you a little bookmark that you can put on your browser here that says add a contact to your database that you click. And we're going to make you this little form. It's probably hard to see. Let me zoom in. See this form where it says add a subscriber. Who did you receive permission from who wants our newsletter?
Mm-hmm.
It'll just have you or your assistant's names. Your assistants can choose their name. Put in the email of the person you spoke with and a little note on how you met that person. That's it.
Yeah.
And if you put more information, then that's how you can get direct mail out to them, but you click submit. Okay. And, if you're speaking to 20 to 25 people a day and you offer them a subscription, you offer them, hey, I publish these helpful videos. They're about, what's going on in local real estate. I'd love for you to receive it. What's your best email? You just click this link in your browser, you put the email and you click submit. It goes right into your database and you'll be able to track how many people a week you've added to your list. Isn't that cool?
Very.
And you'll empower your agents or your staff in this case. I mean, they kind of are almost like agents. I mean, they're all licensed.
Yeah.
3 licensed assistants, you can track by the name. You follow me? They can have their little name in that drop-down field.
Okay.
Now, here's what's cool. Once you click submit, guess what goes out? The welcome email. So right when you get off the phone from that FSBO or that expired or whoever it is, that buyer lead, they don't really know who you are, but you probably connected with them with your good communication listening skills.
Mm-hmm.
You ask for their email address, you put it into the form, it goes straight into your list, what's on your touch plan with Viral.
Mm-hmm.
But it automatically kicks out, it was a great to visit with you. You're now subscribed to our video e-newsletter email that has a picture of your team and your videos and your reviews and link to your blog, and people can find out what their home is worth and then go to your website to search for houses. Isn't that cool?
Very.
So imagine, this doesn't really cost much more money, but if you could just start basically asking for emails after all of these contacts, putting them in this form that scales to your team, it's going to ensure they actually get on your list. You follow me right away?
Mm-hmm.
And also, you're going to get this really cool subscription confirmation email is going to pop up probably on the person's phone like 2 seconds after you hang up. Like, oh, that's who I was talking to. Darn, all right. This guy knows what's up, you know?
Interesting. Interesting.
Isn't that cool?
Great
So
tool.
that's included in your fee. So ask who you're working with at Viral to set that up.
Appreciate that. That's a great idea. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, man. So that's how Paul builds his list. You're just talking to people and throwing them into your database.
Mm-hmm.
Not much to say there.
Just expanding the communication sphere.
Yeah. I mean, not much to say there. You just got to be purposeful. But the hard work is, you speak to 20, 25 people a day while still selling 81 houses. That's a heck of a work ethic.
Part of the process, right?
I mean, people can't speak to 20 people a day when they sell no houses. Right?
Well, you know what it's like to be in communication, Frank, because you are a master of communication. I love watching you do what you do. It's amazing.
Thanks. I appreciate it. All right, so let's move on. So, we reconnected with your list 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You've been building your list, talk to people, call expireds, call FSBOs, networking with all these business owners. My gosh, we have to include them in your stuff. I'll send you more information on that. All right.
Great. Appreciate it.
You're talking to all these people. You're asking permission to stay in touch, and hopefully I gave you a little tip to maybe systematize the capture.
Yeah.
After those conversations, to get a little confirmation email out.
Mm-hmm.
And what's nice about the confirmation email is, it's not like you speak to someone like 5 weeks later they get some random video. It kind of sets them up to get your stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So now you got to actually record your vids, right? Mm-hmm. So tell me, how have you managed to stay excited and to keep things interesting and to pick topics that you find are relevant and useful for 5 years of topics? Talk to me about that.
Well, usually what I do, it's probably not all of that imaginative, but I usually just tap into whatever is happening currently in my business. For example, today, I owe you folks 2 videos, and I started to think about what's really happening around us, what's happening in the country, what's happening in the economy. And the blinding flash of the obvious right now is the government shutdown. Recently, last week, I actually went out to a Mike Furry retreat out in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Had the best vacation of my life with my wife. We saw 5 shows in 4 days, had a great time. But what we noticed was leaving Boston, the security screening was backed up. And it took us about an hour and a half to get clearance. And that was all part and parcel of what's going on with the government shutdown. So I did a little research to find out how is that impacting the real estate industry specifically. And that's what my first video topic is going to be on today. On a week-to-week basis, typically there's something happening in the business, whether it be a situation that's involving a legal challenge, or whether it's asbestos becoming an issue, or mold, or whether people are having trouble with financing, inspection issues, whatever it is that's currently happening within the context of our business, that's usually a topic that comes to my mind. And oftentimes I can just, in a 2-minute narrative, share a little bit of insight as to how that particular issue occurred, what the solution was, and share it with the public so that people get a little bit of a vignette of an insight as to what goes on in day-to-day business with a real estate professional.
Paul, you're the perfect viral marketing client. I want everyone to hear what was just said there. So Paul sits back in the chaos of 81 deals, in the chaos of managing 3 people, which you probably don't have to because it sounds like they're exceptional, making all these contacts, and the pressure of having to do a deal after do a deal to pay expenses. You're able to sit back and be calm and actually think about something to say that's really locally relevant that my staff probably couldn't really help you much out with, because it's really you.
Well, yeah, there are so many topics that your staff has offered, and obviously you have a wealth of
oh yeah, we help people out. Don't get me wrong. You're at the highest level of you really sit back and think about something really good to say.
It's fun to really tap into something where, for instance, a guy like you've become an expert at what you do with viral. And sometimes you may forget that expertise took a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication and many years for you to get to where you are today, Frank. and running your company and bringing together mastermind groups, bringing people together throughout the country, helping individuals like myself, business people, to elevate their business, to take it into the, today's world. And so it's important for us to recognize that we have access to some very prioritized and unique information sources because of how hard we work and because of how dedicated we are to helping people. And so when one of those topics becomes prominent in the course of a week or two of our work, it's great to be able to share that topic with people so that the general public, the people watching the video, can learn something and can appreciate just how dedicated we are to wanting to make their real estate experience a profitable and a positive overall experience.
Paul, I would hire you to be my realtor any day in Boston.
You ought to come out here. We've got some nice real estate, Frank. If you want to have a second or third home out there,
there's a downtown area where they have like people juggling and like I think it's what it's called.
Faneuil Hall.
Is that what it's called? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's an amazing spot.
Well, I might actually be out there because we run on HubSpot, and they're based out of there. Cool. And I have modeled viral with a lot of the companies of like Bain and McKinsey and a lot of those consulting firms that are Boston based.
Mm-hmm.
I've read their books and I liked how I've modeled that. So it wouldn't surprise me if I end up in Boston at some time. But something I want to share with you about something current event that's kind of interesting. I'll share with the audience is here's a client of ours with the government shutdown. It's like you probably want to get through security faster. So he's holding a community event where you can come on out and get TSA pre-checked.
Wow.
Isn't that kind of cool?
Very cool.
Yeah. This is something we sent out for him.
I just heard about that for the first time when I was with my wife going through the checkpoint at
just heard of pre-check?
I just heard of pre-check. I hadn't heard about it before.
Oh my goodness, that's been saving my butt for years.
No, I'm talking about about this pre-check. So basically with the pre-check, you can bypass the formal process. Correct? Kind
of, yeah. They give you a little bit of expedited entry as opposed to going through regular security. And what's cool with that is if, one of the things that our clients do, and I've been very fortunate to work with lots of, top producers, and I can kind of see some consistent patterns of like what stands the test of time.
Yep.
And one of those is community events, is getting your database from online to offline.
Got it.
And you got to have an excuse for an event. So we're always thinking, what's the excuse?
Mm-hmm.
And, some people do ice cream socials, or they went to the ice cream truck and give away free ice cream for 3 hours at the park. Some people do pies, some people do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I love the get TSA out there with their mobile pre-check thing and throw a party to get pre-checked. I mean, you're going to get a very affluent demographic.
That is cool.
With that, right? Like right next to it, right next to an office.
Yeah.
Right. Call the HR office and say, get them all down here to pre-check to save money because they're wasting money in line. And there's just so many ways you can go with that. You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely. What an open-minded idea. I mean, you have so much fun with ideas and with bringing people together and stimulating new masterminding. It's good stuff.
I enjoy the creativity. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, all right. So, you're building your list. You got a great business. You're sending out helpful videos. One of the reports that we give you, and in those videos, like we talked in our intermission earlier, how can we include some business owners? We'll talk about that offline more. Mm-hmm. But we give you a report of all of the people who watch your videos.
Mm-hmm.
Do you use it?
I don't use it as effectively as I would like to. I use it sporadically as opposed to building it into the regular programming of my business. But I do intend to use it more effectively this year because it really is a great source of reaching out to people who already have basically taken their time to listen to a previous message of mine. And you have to wonder, why would they do that? Well, they may have some interest in real estate. They may have a desire to have a conversation. It's a natural opportunity to take that conversation to the next level.
Well, let me give you your next topic and I want you to use this topic when you plan to call the list. Sound good? So only use this weapon when you're ready. The topic I want you to use is, 2 or 3 things you must absolutely know before you sell your Boston home this spring.
Okay.
2 or 3 things, whatever, 5, whatever you want. 3 things you must absolutely know
Hmm.
before you sell your Boston home this spring.
Cool.
Now, would you like to know who watches that?
Fire away.
Okay, that's the idea.
Just
Sound
about
good?
anybody.
Yeah, so I don't really care what the content is. You can come up with something, right? But
Hmm.
that headline will be very intriguing to some,
No question.
right?
Yep. Absolutely.
So now it's like, okay, you send this out to your list, you can call some expires FSBOs, but hey, here's a list of people in my database that watched a video about 3 things you must absolutely put to your home. Yeah, let's call them, see what's up.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So, what we do is we'll go in and we'll pull that report and we'll organize it into a spreadsheet and send it to you to call.
Hmm.
But if you want, we recently switched. It's very expensive, but your emails are going through a much more robust platform now called Emma. So
Okay.
we use Emma as our email marketing program. That's irrelevant to you. It's who we send the millions of emails through.
Hmm.
But Emma has this is their website. So you have all these features. Yeah, I'll show you really quick. So basically, this plus version that's
Hmm.
included in your fee
Okay.
for what it's worth. So if you want to go here and see all the features that you have, you can whatever. But you see this metric app? This is an app you can download on your phone
Okay.
where you can view your response results on your phone. So
Cool.
you go to the App Store, search for Emma, EMMA. I believe it's called Metric. Let me see. Yeah, right here. See? Metric.
Okay. Yep. Hmm.
Tell your person here to invite you in as a user to it, and it'll be an app, and you can see in real time the results of engagement
Wow.
right on your app. It's included in your
That's
fee.
awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Another great feature.
Yeah. And it'll kind of tell you too, like your score on like a scale of 0 to 10, like how clean your list is and how good your message to market matches.
Cool.
So
So it's a learning tool as well.
yeah, it'll tell you, because you want to keep it, you want to have a good open rate, click through rate, low spam clicks, low opt outs, all those things together. It'll
Hmm.
kind of tell you like how I would look at it as like a relevancy score, like how relevant is your stuff to your list
Hmm.
on a scale of 0 to 10 is probably how I would look at it.
Awesome.
All right. So make sure you go download that.
I will.
And then when you're ready to go send out the 3 things you must absolutely know before you sell your home
Hmm.
this spring, make sure you're ready to do a little follow up. And just make sure when you call them, don't say, like, hey, I see you clicked and watched my stuff. I'll creep them out. Say,
Right.
I see you subscribe.
Uh-huh.
There you go.
See you subscribe. Cool.
I'm in. So, what other tips? You got a real estate professional maybe doing 30, 40 deals a year, kind of, trying to get going. They're going to say, well, of course you're super successful. You've been doing this for 40 years. But I don't think it took you 40 years of work. It's taken you 40 years of wisdom to find out how you want to run your business that makes you
Yeah,
happy. So there's many different competing models.
exactly.
You found your sweet spot,
You got
right?
it. You got it.
Give me some business advice. I don't even care if it's about viral. Give me some business advice for someone that's been in the business for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, trying to get stable, trying to make sure they can pay their bills and have some discretionary income left over and be happy. What do you tell them?
First and foremost, it helps to just be a people person. If you're not a people person, become one. Start talking with everybody and talk with everybody about what you do. If you buy the newspaper in the morning, if you happen to stop into the local store, you go to your dry cleaner, anybody that you're talking to, people at the bank, talk to them, listen to them, and share with them what you do. Become that people person that whenever you're in an opportunity to connect with people, you share the fun and the excitement of what you do. So it's not just a matter of telling people what we do, but it's a matter of sharing the enthusiasm and the excitement of what we do. And you can't share that enthusiasm and excitement if it's not real. So you really have to get to that point where you love what you do. A lot of people get into real estate, I believe, Frank, because they think it's a way to just make a lot of money without doing any work, and nothing could be further from the truth. But the reality is, for people who really persevere in this industry, people who really put themselves into it and learn to master the art of communication and negotiation and prospecting and reaching out to people, the person that you become in doing that is really becoming a salesperson. It can be such a fun and exciting life and a great lifestyle. So when you share your personality with people, you share what you love with people, and you share how you've helped other people, that kind of communication is what resonates with people. And that's, that's something that you have to do on a daily basis.
You said something, the person you become. It reminds me of one of my favorite quotes from Jim Rohn is you're probably familiar. Success is something you attract by the person you become.
Very cool.
Yeah. Good.
I
So
love
feel free. Why don't you share some of your influences, man? You've been in the business for 40 years. I don't name names. I mean, where does someone go to learn the communication skills? You mentioned Mike Ferry, wonderful, wonderful coach and trainer.
Yep. Mike Ferry has been a mentor of mine. Absolutely.
Yeah. What else?
I learned a tremendous amount from my broker owner, who right now is 91. He'll be 92 in 6 weeks. And his name's Jürgen Keller. He was from Germany. My first sales position, he hired me on day one when he opened Century 21 Minuteman about 38, 39 years ago.
You've known this guy for 40 years?
Yeah. And so I see him every day. He's four doors from my office. He's 4 doors from the office. He lives in an assisted living location. And I see him every day. He's a fun-loving guy. We share music. We share laughter. He's a very, very high-level integrity guy, so he's always kept me on the straight and narrow. Anytime I ever talk to him about doing things that might be a little bit below the line of high integrity, he's always said, no way, can't do that, doesn't fly. So he's really kept me with a very positive outlook on doing things the right way and not making money the bottom line in terms of, how I make my business decisions, but always maintaining that central focus of integrity. So Jürgen Keller's been a great influence. My dad was an amazing influence. My dad's name was Bernie. He owned a couple of siding and home improvement companies. He then became a real estate investor. And over the course of years, he bought 60 or 70 buildings, raised 9 children, of which I was the firstborn. And he passed about 7 years ago, left my mother with 500 or 600 apartments. And he's a guy who was a salesperson his whole life. He had a little real estate sales company going amongst various other companies. And
500 apartments when America's taken off.
Yeah. He was a wild man. Matter of fact, he became a pilot. We had a plane. We flew together. We flew independently. He did a lot of crazy things as a pilot, which I won't go into at this point. I did a few crazy things myself. And the good news is we both survived some of the close calls we had as private pilots, but we had an awful lot of fun with that hobby. And it's one of the things that we shared together. One time when I was in college, we flew out to Pittsburgh from Boston, and he picked me up out at UMass and Amherst. And, we just spent a weekend flying out to see his surrogate parents out there. And so we used to do a lot of crazy things together. He was a pool hustler. I'm somewhat of a pool hustler. And I just learned a lot from the guy.
I think what I realize is that it's not the communication training. It's the 2 people you mentioned, your father and your broker, as well as Mike for the skills. It's the character traits that have been instilled in you.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the work ethic. Yeah.
The work ethic.
No surprises there, everybody.
It's just, and it's having fun in life. It's just having fun every day. That I do a little bit of magic.
Let's end with that. I want to hear my magic trick. Everyone's been paying attention.
And one of the fun things about doing magic every day, I started this morning. I had some painting contractors in my front hall this morning at 8:00, and they're going through and they're finishing painting the interior of our home. And before I ran off to work, I spent about 10 minutes with them doing a little bit of magic, lightening them up, getting them to have some fun, have a few laughs, see the impossible. And I believe that every day should have, a little bit of an ingredient of magic in it. And when you lighten people's day up and you help people to just smile a little bit, you give people something to be a little mesmerized about, it just takes people out of the mundane and helps people to, believe in the mysterious, believe that all things are possible, and realize that, life is short. May as well have some fun. May as well have a good time every day.
Oh, let's see a trick. Let's have some fun.
Okay, let's do it. Now, tell me honestly, Frank, when we first met, was I doing a little bit of magic at that time?
I think you brought some magic to the event. I remember that specifically. You're branded in my mind with that.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think I actually met some of your team members.
Yeah, because we had a booth.
So let's have a little bit of fun here. So I'll start off by, can you see the cards here, Frank?
Yes.
So would you do me a favor and just memorize the deck?
Sure. Well, there's 52 cards. I know that.
Well, a couple of jokers too. I forgot to count us.
Yeah. Oh, that. God, you're good.
All
There's
right.
mine.
So, all right. So here's one. Here's one for you. So I want you to just name a card, and I'm going to listen for it. And what makes it difficult is I've got the headset on, so I can't even hear what I'm listening for. Just name one for me.
Name
What
a
do you
card. Ace of Spades.
got? Ace of Spades. All right. I'm listening for it, Frank. Is that it?
Oh my God. Wow.
It was in there.
I mean, do you have the deck memorized?
Well, I did until I shuffled it up, and then I kind of got goofed up from there.
That's incredible. It's so simple.
So simple. Try another one. I'll cut the deck to your
Okay.
card. Go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead. What do you got?
4 clubs.
Okay. 4 clubs. You ready for this?
Yeah. And
All
like the camera has no difference in this because I know you'd be standing in front of me and
Is that it right there?
wow. So you can shuffle the deck and pull any card that anyone says.
No relation to the 4 spades. They look alike.
Yeah. Did you pull the right one that I said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got it.
Great, dude. Good for you.
You got to have fun every day. I actually had a deck produced. You get a kick out of that. I had a deck produced which actually has my name and contact information, my logo on it.
Yeah.
And on the very top, basically the top line, it says illusionist. If you can see it on the camera.
Yeah, that's it.
And then it's got the logo, Lair, Realty Partners, Lair of Lions, and then name and contact information, email, video. And, I just give a deck of cards out to people when I meet them. And, it's just a fun way to just, do a little magic and
I think it's great.
have some fun,
I think it's fantastic. I mean, there's so many lines of how many times you had to pull Magic App when you get a deal through.
The crazy thing, Frank, is a lot of times I'll meet people and we won't necessarily do business. But one thing that I make sure happens before I leave any prospective client, we definitely have a little bit of fun. So whether we do business or not, it's always great when we do. But even if we don't, I always leave a trail of having a good smile and a good laugh to every meeting. And
Good.
it just makes the day lighter.
We did that today. Paul, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Frank. Appreciate everything you do, man. You are awesome, and I appreciate your influence, your business acumen, your plethora of ideas, the way that you share with people, the way you're always opening up all new possibilities. You're a great guy, and I appreciate everything you do for me.
Thanks, Paul. I appreciate that. See you, everybody.